Have you ever seen a witch movie and you're like, I wonder if that is actually real. I wonder if curses are real. I wonder if magic is real. I wonder if I can personally cast a spell. I wonder if I can do any of these things. Do I have the power within myself?
I always kind of had the clairvoyant dreams, and I started remembering that this happened and kind of could recall those at like 6 to 10. And then started researching from there, and then started spell work a little bit later. So I always say like on and off 8-10 years, because I was immersed in it without really my choice. Obviously it was my choice to choose to practice witchcraft, but with the gifts and things that I was seemingly finding out that I had, they really had no other explanation. And for a while I pushed them away, and then after researching it more and finding out that like you could control it and not be so scared of things, I found out through that was kind of my calling to do this. I always think that witchcraft, much like any other thing, can be a good or bad thing depending on the person and their morals and cultural values. Obviously, it could be anything as simple as like a basketball player. It could be a good or bad basketball player. Same thing with witches. They can use what they are doing or their workings or things for good or lighter magic. I also don't think, though, inherently dark magic is bad. Grey witches do dark magic, and it's not always a bad thing. So I think it just really depends on the person and their morals. I think for me, my family didn't know, or maybe knew for not until recently, but they never really cared. My dad was an atheist and my mom grew up Christian or Catholic. I actually can't remember because we never went to church. I was baptized, so it wasn't surprising to them. I don't necessarily believe that people who practice witchcraft worship the devil. Witchcraft inherently doesn't mean that you worship anyone. It's a nature-based religion. So I think people inherently believe that witches sell their soul to the devil, and that's where they get their power from. It comes back to the olden days, and unfortunately it's not accurate. I think that anyone technically could, if you believe that the devil is real. If you believe that his entity is real, then you probably could sell your soul to him, but witches don't inherently have to do that to get their power. So the pentagram is a protective symbol for witches, or a lot of different people. It's not just witches, actually. A pentagram is the 5-point star that you see a lot, and then the printed coal is the 5-point star with the circle around it. So for the pentagram, it's the 5 elements and spirits. So you have water, earth, air, and fire, and then spirit. So anyone can begin their journey with witchcraft really any way they'd like. Witchcraft is a very research-heavy thing. It's difficult to start. I feel like people struggle, but I always tell people that there's learning about the history of witchcraft and the difference between paganism, Wiccans, and witches, because there's a great difference between the three. Is it really important? And then from there, just research anything that people are interested in. Maybe that's plants or herbalism or crystals, whatever that be, they should research from there, because it can get quite daunting and you don't want them to burn out. Favorite thing for me to do as a witch, it's a struggle. It kind of changes from day to day. I really like self-love work, but I honestly just really enjoy like the simple intricacies of spell work. Just the preparation, I think, is one of my favorites. Obviously spell work is great, but I don't know, getting prepared for a spell and like planning around the moon cycles and just all of that, or just learning about new things too. I think new plants, and like I just like learning. I don't know, I think for me it's really fun to be able to manipulate things and like try new spells and potions and things. And potions, I mean, I don't actually ingest potions. Well, most of the time. Mostly it's just oils and things that I make. But that's fun. And obviously now that I have a platform, like I was a witch way longer, or way before this platform, obviously. It's fun to be able to share my spells. And online with TikTok, it's kind of hard because there's so many things that people just as witches think that you shouldn't do, or like love spells that you can't show. But in reality, a lot of witches do these things, and I have such great spells and books that I found along the way that just like I would love to share, and sometimes can't because it's a sensitive topic. But it's fun in that aspect. Like there's so much you can do with magic or just learn about. I really love that aspect a lot. And for the moon phases, it's a struggle for me because I already explained this to you. I mean, I love the moon in general. I want to be a lunar witch, but it's more work for me to label myself as that, as I'm not ready to do that yet. It's kind of hard for witches. Practice is very fluid, and you can kind of change what you're into. It's not that I've ever not been into the moon. I definitely have, but there's a lot that goes into that for me to be able to call myself a lunar witch, in my mind, I think. Especially at only 24, it's probably going to take me a few more years to get comfortable with that title. But I love the moon so much, and it holds so much power and so much just in general to me. I love it. Obviously, full moons are really amazing, but new moons are great too. All the phases. I feel really bad. I feel really shady trying to call out those specific moon phases. But new moon or full moon, obviously, those just for me, they're really, really powerful. But depending on what kind of spell I want to do, it really depends.